Good morning, dear learners. Today we'll discuss the concepts and forms of social mobility. What is social mobility? What do you mean by social mobility? The social mobility means transition from one social position to another. When someone moves from one position to another, that is known as social mobility. Suppose you are a manager, then you got the promotion and become the general manager. Then this is known as social mobility because you moved from one position to another position. This change in social position involves general significant change in the lifestyle and the life chances. Obviously, when you become a general manager, it will impact your lifestyle. It will impact your life chances. So social mobility has impact on lifestyle and life chances. This concept of social mobility was defined by P.A. Sorokin. Sorokin was the one. He was an American sociologist, and he discussed this concept of social mobility. According to Sorokin, the shift of position may be undertaken by an individual or social object or value. That is to say, anything that has been created or modified by the human activity can experience social mobility. So, anything which was man made, which is man made, can experience social mobility. Jobs made by the men, society made by the men. So anything which was made by or created by the human beings, those activities experienced social mobility. Actually, the gradation of social mobility was done in terms of power, in terms of position, prestige, privileges. So when you move from one place to another, you from one position to another, you might get some power. If you get demoted, then you may lose powers. Prestige, social mobility is involved with prestige, and privileges are associated with uh, social mobility. There are various types and forms of mobility. I hope now this is clear. What is mobility? Mobility is movement from one position to another position, from social position to another social position. That is mobility. So there are various types of mobilities and various forms of mobility. Horizontal. The first is horizontal social mobility. The horizontal social mobility. That is means the movement by the individual or the group from one position to another in society, which does not involve a shift into higher or lower strata. That is horizontal. This is the horizontal mobility is when you move from one position to another in a society that does not involve higher or lower stratum. That is, for example, movement from one place to another place, or from one office to another office at the same position. That is horizontal movement. You are moving from one organization or from one office to another office, but there you are not either getting promotions or you are not demoted from your position. That is horizontal. You are at the same position, but the only change is either office or the organization or the city. That is known as the horizontal mobility, when you move at the same position. It could be the geographical movement, when you move from one country to the another country, when you move from one organization to another organization at same position, from when you move from one city to the another city at same position, then that is known as horizontal movement. According to Sorokin, horizontal social mobility means the transition of an individual or social object from one social group to another situated at the same level. Right? Horizontal mobility does not involve the major movement up or down the hierarchical ladder. The horizontal dimension of social mobility cannot throw much light on the nature of stratification present in any society. Although there is horizontal movement, but there is no movement in the hierarchical ladder, right? and the it cannot throw that horizontal movement cannot throw much light on the social stratification. It is only vertical movement which throws the light on the social stratification. Anthony Giddens is a contemporary sociologist, considered that there is a great deal of mobility along with lateral direction in modern society. He prefers to define horizontal mobility as a lateral mobility. So, Sorokin defined horizontal mobility, that is movement from one place to another place at the same position. That is horizontal mobility. And see, Anthony Giddens defined this as a lateral movement. So, what is lateral movement? Lateral movement, according to Anthony Giddens, that is movement from one place to another place at the same position. That is lateral movement, and according to Sorokin, that is horizontal movement, right? So, from shift from one town to another town, from one city to another city, from one place to another place. That is lateral or horizontal movement. Next type of mobility is vertical mobility. What is vertical mobility? Vertical mobility simply puts an upward or downward change in the rank of individual or a group. Either you get the promoted to the next, or demoted to the lower rank. That is vertical mobility. When you either climb up the ladder, or when you come down from the ladder, that is the vertical mobility. Essential vertical mobility involves a movement which ensures enhancing or lowering of a rank. Either you enhances your rank or lowers your rank. Sorokin defines vertical social mobility as a relation involved in a transition of an individual from one social stratum to another. Right? That is from one social stratum to another social stratum. Vertical mobility is transition of an individual from one stratum to other stratum, either this way or that way. The direction of transition could be of two types in vertical social mobility: ascending and descending. That is social climbing or social sinking. That is vertical mobility when you move from one position to another position. Either you climb up the ladder, that is known as social climbing, or whether you get down of the ladder, that is descending type of vertical mobility, that is social sinking. When you get promoted, when you get promotions in your organization, that is vertical movement, that is ascending type of vertical movement. When someone get demotion because of certain reason, then that is known as descending or social sinking like mobility. Anthony Giddens refers to vertical mobility as movement up or down the socio-economic scales. According to him, those who gain in property, income, or status are said to be upward mobile, while those who move in opposite direction are downwardly mobile. So, ascending or descending, when you gain something, that is ascending, social climbing; when you lose something, that is social declining or descending or sinking type of a movement, or downward type of a movement. Right? So, uh, ascending or descending, social sinking, social uprising. Giddens defined it as upward movement and the downward movement. He defined it on the basis of socio-economic scales. Giddens comments that in modern society, vertical and horizontal, that is lateral mobility, according to the Giddens, the horizontal movement is lateral type of mobility. So, vertical or the lateral mobility are often combined. Often, one form of mobility leads to other type of mobility. The individual working in a company in one city might be promoted to higher position in a branch of a firm of located in another town. Then this is horizontal or lateral mobility, and even in a different country. And because promoted to higher, so promotion is a vertical type of movement. So according to Giddens, that lateral and vertical mobility goes hand in hand. Forms of mobility. Forms of mobility exists as an infiltration of individuals of lower stratum into existing higher one. A creation of new group by such individual and insertion of such group into higher stratum instead of side by side with existing group of this stratum. Dropping of individual from higher social position into the existing lower one without a degradation or disintegration of higher group to which it belonged, and degradation of social group as a whole, right? So these are the forms of social mobility. More recent treatment of form of mobility in advanced by Raphael H. Turner, R.H. Turner, contrasting the predominant modes of mobility of England and United States of America. Turner has suggested two ideal types, normative pattern of upward mobility. So, R.H. Turner defined or suggested two ideal, typical normative pattern of mobility, upward mobility. He defined the typical normative pattern of upward mobility. The first is contest mobility. What is contest mobility? Is a system in which elite status is a prize in an open contest and is taken by the aspirations on efforts. So it's an open contest, anyone can participate in this. The term that is, it is known as the elite status. What is contest mobility? Contest. There is a contest, and contest mobility. What is contest mobility? It is a type of a system. Which type of a system? In which elite status is the prize. If you want to achieve the elite status, it's a prize. It's an open contest. Anyone can participate. Open contest means anyone can participate in that, and is taken by the aspirations on efforts. If you will put your efforts, it's an open contest, and if you will participate, and if you win, then you get elite status as a prize. And this type of mobility is known as contest mobility. The term elite is used by the Turner in a simplified sense to mean the high class category. White, the contest is governed by the some rules of fair play, and the contestants have wide choices in strategies they may employ. So it's an open system, right? So elite means a high class category. You will be positioned at the high class category. You might achieve a good position in the organization, right? Why the contest is, and the contest, why it is a contest? Because it is governed by rules, fair play of rules. It was a fair play, it is a fair play governed by some rules. And employee can employee can use wide, employee have wide choices of strategies they can uh, implement. Since the prize of successful upward mobility is not in the hands of established elites to give out, the latter cannot determine who shall attain it and who shall not attain. That's why it is the contest mobility, because the prize is not in the hand of the elite, already already established elites. It totally depends on the efforts of the aspirations. So that's why it's called a excuse me, contest mobility. Next type of mobility defined by R.H. Turner is sponsored mobility. The first was the contest mobility. It was an open type of a contest where anyone can uh, participate, and the prize was the elite status. The next type of mobility is sponsored mobility, and sponsored mobility is one where the established elite or their agents recruit individuals into their fold. In this case, the elite status is given on the basis of some criteria of supposed merit and cannot be taken by any amount of effort or strategy. So, in this, the elite status is given by the established elites. It cannot be taken. It cannot be taken by any amount or efforts or the strategies. Upward mobility. This is upward mobility. This example of sponsored mobility is like entry into a private club. where each candidate must be sponsored by one or the more members. Ultimately, the member grants or denies the upward mobility on the basis of whether they judge the candidate to have these qualities they see in the fellow members. That is the sponsored mobility. So, R.H. Turner discussed two type of upward mobility, that is the contest mobility. It depends on the efforts. Another was a source sponsored mobility that totally depends uh, on the that is in the hands of the established elite, while the contest mobility, there was nothing in the hands of established elites. Anyone who can put efforts and are eligible can contest and participate and can win the prize, that is the elite status prize, right? It is based on the up mobility is based on the efforts and the strategies put by the individual, while sponsored mobility is one where the established elite recruit their individual. This elite status is not based or not taken by any amount of efforts or strategies. This is sponsored mobility. Dimensions and implications of mobility. There are certain dimensions, there are certain implication of mobility. Integra- uh, Intergenerational mobility and the intergenerational mobility. There are two types of mobility: intragenerational mobility and intergenerational mobility. Right? There are two ways of studying the social mobility. One can study the individual's own career, how far they move up or down the social scale in course of their working life. This is called the intergenerational mobility. And one can analyze how far children enter to the same type of occupation as their parents or grandparents. This is known as in this is known as intragenerational mobility. This is known as intragenerational mobility. What is intergenerational mobility? Intergenerational mobility is when you study the individual's own career, how successful he is in his own career, how far that individuals moves up or down in the social scale of their working lives. That is known as intergenerational mobility. And intragenerational mobility is when the individuals or the children enter into the same type of occupation as their parents or grandparents, and this mobility is known as the intragenerational mobility. In case of intergenerational mobility study, if study is undertaken from the what is intergenerational mobility? When the standpoint changes over the lifespan of an individual, that is intergenerational. And when study is undertaken from the standpoint of change within the family over two or more generation, that is known as intragenerational mobility study. When you study about a single individual, about his mobility in the social stratum in his career, then that is intergeneration. When you study the movement, that is the upward or the downward movement um, in context with the career of two or more generation of a family, then that is known as intragenerational mobility. There is a range of mobility. What is the range of mobility? When people move up or down the social scale, they may travel through one or more strata. When you get promotion, you may, or when someone get demotions, then they may travel through one or more strata. The social distance thus covered is denoted by the term range. This travel through one strata to another strata, when we measure this is known as range. This social distance covered is denoted by the range. It could be movement covering a short social distance, that is short range shift, or a big slide across a number of strata is also possible. What is downward mobility? Downward mobility. This trend is most often linked up with the psychological problems and anxieties. where individuals fail to sustain the lifestyle to which they become accustomed. Redundancy can also cause downward mobility. For example, a middle aged man who loses his job find it hard to gain a new employment at all and can only obtain work at the lower level of income than before. This is the downward mobility. He got demoted. This is downward mobility when an individual fail to sustain the lifestyle which he or she has become accustomed. That is known as downward mobility. Another example could be a career of a woman who abandoned her career for after the birth of the child and after years of bringing up the family. When she returns to the work, she might be forced to take a lower rank job than that at which she left. Right, so this is downward mobility. Before that she might be at the some higher position. She left the job, then after so many years, after the upbringing of her family and the children, when she again wanted to join the job, she might got a job of a lower rank than the previous one. This is known as the downward mobility, when someone is not able to sustain the lifestyle they are accustomed of. It could be because of many of the reasons, because of loss of job, because of health issues, because of, in case of women, because of family. It could be, there could be n number of reasons for this. What is upward mobility? Acquiring wealth and property is major means of moving up in modern society. But other channel are also there. That is entering a occupation with honor. That is upward mobility. Suppose an executive when cleared UPSC and become the IAS or IPS or IFS, then it becomes the upward mobility. That is entering an occupation with honor. That is upward mobility, or acquiring wealth and property is a major means of involving up in the modern society. When you move up from your position to from your present position to another position, which increases your lifestyle, which enhances your lifestyle and the life chances, then that is known as upward mobility. When you get down from the position, it decreases your life chances and life style, then that is known as the downward mobility. Upward mobility, when you acquire some wealth, some position, some property, and which enhances your life chances and lifestyle. What are the possibilities of mobility? Mobility is not possible if society is rigid enough to allow any movement within its graded structure. And on the other hand, mobility is facilitated if societies exhibit a flexible nature. It is very difficult if society is rigid. You cannot move from one position to another position. You can take an example of caste system of India. Society is very rigid. Even if you are educated, even if you are earning well, you cannot change your society caste. You cannot move up or down from that. It's a rigid type of a structure. While when the society is flexible, then there it is easy to move from one position to another position. That is known as the very little vertical mobility is possible in the closed society. An open society allows for a greater vertical social mobility. Closed society, when society is rigid, then that society is known as closed society, and vertical movement is very difficult. You can move horizontally in closed society, but you cannot move vertically in closed society. Example is your caste system. And in open society, there is a great chances of vertical social mobility. Every society has established criteria which might be proper manners, family, lineage, education, or racial affiliation must be satisfied before people can move to the higher social level. You cannot move like this to any higher social level. There are certain established criteria. Criteria could be your education, criteria could be your family background, criteria could be your manners, criteria could be your racial affiliation. So to move upward, people need to have, there are certain criteria and people need to fulfill all those criteria. Factors and forces of social mobility. What are the factors? What are the forces behind the social mobility? One of the pioneer in the study of social mobility is a Russian sociologist Sorokin. We all know this. According to him, there is a primary factor that affects mobility in all society, and secondary factor that are specific to a particular society at particular time. So um, Sorokin defined mobility. He has given the concept of mobility, and Sorokin defined, according to the Sorokin, there are certain factors, and he categorized for social mobility, and he categorized these factors into the primary factors and the secondary factors. Primary factors are those factors which affect the mobility in each and every society, in all societies. That is, those are the primary factors which affects the mobility in all societies. Those factors are known as the primary factors, while secondary factors are those that are specific to a particular society at a particular time. That depends on the situation of a particular society at a particular time. That then he divided the factors. So I hope this is clear. What is social mobility and factors of social mobility? Sorokin has given the concept of social mobility, and he discussed the various factors responsible for social mobility, and he categorized the factors into the primary factors and the secondary factors. Primary factors are those factors that affects mobility in all society, in each and every society, and secondary factors are those factors that are particular to a that are specific to a particular society at a particular time. No society can be regarded as complete closed, denying any mobility, nor it can be a completely open, as there is always a barrier to mobility. Closed society, we discussed about the closed society and the open society. Closed society, which is rigid and where the vertical mobility is very difficult. Open society, which is flexible, where mobility is easy. But according to Sorokin, no society is completely closed or completely open. The primary factors, he listed the four primary factors. Primary factors are those factors which exist in all, each and the abilities of parents and children, the faulty distribution of individuals in social position, and change of the environment. These are the four primary factors. So I'm repeating again: the demographic factors, the abilities of parents and children, the faulty distribution of individual in social position, and change of the environment. Demographic factor. Let us discuss the demographic factors in detail. The primary factor of social mobility, according to Sorokin, that is the first one, is the demographic factor. Demographic factor has been observed that the birth rate of a higher group is lower than that of the lower group. See, a demographic factors include the number of person present in a group, their lifestyle, their income, their age, and it has been observed that the birth rate of the higher group is lower than that of the lower group. In lower group, the birth rate is higher, and the other important reason for demographic factor is rapid industrialization. The demographic factor has bearing on social mobility, but is itself not purely biological phenomenon. Social factor in general have bearing on demography. Mendeleev written on how cultural factors such as sun preference have affected the population structure. So all these demographic factors impact the social mobility. Next is Talent and ability. What is talent and ability? Popular pressure may force individual to vacate position they are unsuited for. Even in society with inherited status position, there were always opportunities for talented individual to be upwardly mobile. Talent and ability plays an important role. Because of, if you are not talented, if you don't have the abilities, then the pressure may force the individual to vacate the position that are unsuited for. You might get the position because you might have inherited that position. It might be because of inheritance or because of any of the reason you might have obtained that position. But when you are not talented, when you don't have the ability, then the pressure may force the individual to vacate the position that are unsuited for, right? Even in society with inherited status position, there are always opportunities for talent individuals to be upwardly mobile. Even in the closed society where the social mobility is not very easy, then even there are the opportunities for talented individual to move upward or downward. Social stratification points out that even in rigid hierarchical feudal system, there was an opportunity for a person of low birth, even among the bonded, to rise into favor of ministerials. So even in the closed society where vertical mobility is very difficult, if you are talented, if you have ability, then you can move upward. You can take an example of Napoleon. Mobility of this kind, the Turner has called the sponsored mobility, contrasted to the contest mobility, although these terms were not coined with respect to pre-industrial form of mobility. We discussed what is the contest mobility and we discussed what is social mobility. Elite theories. So I hope what it is clear what is talent and ability, right? The demographic factors plays an important role in social mobility. No society is completely closed society. No society is completely open society, right? Even in the closed society, if you have a talent and ability, you can move upward. Even in the closed society, even in the open society, closed society, you can move upward, and even you can be moved downward because of popular pressure if you don't have the talent and the ability. Elite theories. We'll discuss the elite theories in our next lecture. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Namaskar.